So quick little update on the city garden. You saw indoors there, the corn that we started off is slowly getting there. Here's a strawberry planter. In the bottom we've put potatoes. You can see it's doing quite well. So do a quick little update for you, let you know what's going on. Here will be cucumbers eventually, and it goes straight up, and we've got a system up here to trellis them, as well as the cucumbers there. Last time they did really well in those buckets with mulch, so the cucumbers that we sowed before didn't do too well. So we've sown a second batch because it's been a bit too cold. Here we've got some sweet peas and normal peas, or are they both one sweet pea, one's normal pea? And these are the broad beans from last season, last winter, overwintered. So you can see they're already cropping there now. So before we get rid of these, we let them crop. Strawberries up there, doing well. Strawberries down here doing well. Strawberries there doing well. In addition to that, we've got a few Wilco pumpkin here. Zucchini, that one's looking like it's a bit dead. Tomato looking a bit dodgy. These are all marigolds. And cabbage and broccoli. Kale twice. Beetroot ready. Those are pumpkins. These are climbing beans ready to go alongside the corn. That's zucchini. And we're letting that chard go to seed for seeds for next season. Got some beans there. Should be just from home variety. We'll see what happens with those. Same thing there, home variety beans. And luckily nasturtiums have come through. We're looking forward to those. Took their time, but they have come through. And that is climbing beans. No, sunflowers. There's lettuce. We're plugging holes with that lettuce. In the compost from last season we found hosta, and I just put it on a little plug. I put it on, it seems like it's coming on. Cucumbers here which will be planted. As it's been so cold, I put a little plastic piece up in the doorway. Outdoors, these take really long to come, spring onions, but they're not doing too, been there for a while now. In between, in the gaps, I've just plugged in some lettuce, a little gem, so that should bulk up. That is just some plant coriander, looking okay. Chard, and then basil, or kalonji, whatever you call that. And then here's the potatoes. There's Max. How's it doing? Potatoes. The potatoes with broad beans in the middle, which will be interesting this time. You'll see there's broad beans growing out. So we actually got a double broad bean stem there, you'll see, and also a pea here. So it's testing how that goes. That will eventually have a zucchini in. These have got frost damage, but they recovered well. Pumpkin will go over there. Apples have blossomed. Max ate the branches on this apple tree before. We had 3 of them, and he chewed off the branches, didn't you? Yeah, I know. And lavender in the corners coming on nicely. You can hear the bees buzzing. And that's a wallflower. We've got, what's that? That is not coming to me. Flowers. Camellia. Roses. We've given it feed, so you can see it's budding up. Some chard in a bucket. And here's that wishing well. We haven't decided what you're going to do with it yet. It's a bit odd sized. And we left broccoli to flower, and you can see the bees love it. So it seems to be the only thing flowering right now, because there wasn't much broccoli on it, so we left it. Behind that, more roses. And behind the flowers we have peas, which we normally trail up the fencing behind it, just like that. And that's actually the case behind all of them. So even here we've got some, and they do really well there. Behind the flowers, they use up that fencing with that metal little grill on. Plum tree. Eucalyptus are flowering as well. We split them out last year. I put half there with a kale and half there with the kale. This kale has it done as well because the pot is a bit smaller. That pot is deeper and that kale did well, so possibly we need a bigger pot on this side as well. You see even the hickory and everything's doing better here. Okay, so that's the main garden. Now into the secondary bit. There we scattered poppy seeds. Those should be poppies. That looks like a foxglove. There's sweet peas that should go straight up here into the tree. Hebe got frost damaged and looks dead. This is the other section. Secondary potatoes. You can see the difference. Look at those. Look at those down there. Gives you an idea of how they're coming. Okay, here we put leeks in. Leeks there, and then this space is planned for the corn straight up with beans alongside it, as in runner beans. In the back, that space was always odd. We used it as a compost kind of area for a while, but we composted loads of compost from our compost bin, and we filled up the side borders. So all of those side borders got filled up with compost, so now they're doing extra well because they've got an extra layer of compost and homemade compost at that. So there we got broad beans growing, broad beans with peas. We'll see how those do. In the front we made this little bit of a teepee in the odd shady corner. We don't get much sun here. Again, we've got broad beans. I came round and put little, paracord, you get those 7 layers in there just to hold them in place so they don't tip over, and I'll do another version up here when they get a bit higher. Actually, they have already got up to 2 feet now. So that's that. There with peas as well. There's a cabbage that I'm testing. I've left it. I want to see what happens. So here will be corn and beans. So then this nice little section there will be kind of a test environment to check what happens there. In the back there's a jasmine climbing up. There's our water butt with our DIY bottle composting composty. Okay, there we've got hydrangea. That's doing quite well. We've put some mint down here, and here's the leeks. But this season seems to be broad bean season because at the moment there's nothing else that we can really plant. Zucchinis, pumpkins need warm weather, so the broad beans are kind of in every gap and crevice. Oh yeah, and between those broad beans it will be shady, so you'll notice we put little lettuce. Those grew indoors, and I pinched out each lettuce and put them in the gaps just to make use of every gap, because we have got a small garden. I'll call it small, but in comparison some people have smaller gardens, but for me this is quite good, to be honest. It's a good size. We can get most things we need. So these branches will help the peas climb up, and those branches are last year's offcuts from our plum tree. So that plum tree works as, it doesn't give us plums at the moment. It looks like it's bulbed this season. But they've got this funny curling. But we did the usual treatment, like the 2 sprays before budding and after budding. You can see there, kind of. We've got something better this time. It did flower, but we're not building hopes for actual plums. So there's the leeks. I might put between the leeks another lettuce. Here's a bit of coriander. I put a line of beets. And that's charred from last season. Some garlic in there as well. You can see these are the garlic. And then those are those little basket wallflowers again. Bit of water for the birds because they come between the trees. Okay, have we had anything here? Okay, this seems interesting. We seem to be getting radishes and mushrooms. I'll put some parsnips here which look like they're coming. So we'll see how those do. And also beets here, you can see kind of coming. So I'll give you the normal standard view. Well, that's like a bit of a longer update this time. So that's how we're looking towards mid-May. It's not, oh, there's that bird. That was a bird there. Okay, so that's how we're looking there. It's kind of looking like Max is looking there down. The garden needs more life. When things start blooming up, hopefully by June it'll look a lot better. Okay, see you in the next one.